Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show. Before I get on out of here, I had to talk about a story that's very, very important. And albeit indirectly, it involves...
And albeit indirectly, it raises a question. Is the WNBA actually steering itself towards self-destruction? Or are we witnessing the most blatant display of corporate jealousy professional sports has ever seen? Just when it seemed the drama surrounding Caitlin Clark couldn't intensify any further, another explosion has shaken the league office. And this time it didn't come from the players. It came from the very top. We're talking about a league that spent decades begging for viewership, begging for sponsorships, and pleading for mainstream relevance. Yet now that it finally has a unicorn who delivers all three effortlessly, the response reportedly isn't gratitude but rage. Reports suggest that a new commercial featuring Indiana Fever rookie Caitlin Clark has sent WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and the league's old guard into a tailspin, prompting a simple but revealing question. How could a single advertisement cause such chaos behind closed doors? Stephen A. Smith has entered the conversation and confirmed what many suspected. Since the draft, the league has been losing control, and leadership is terrified as they watch one player grow bigger than the entire organization. Instead of riding the wave, they appear to be trying to build a dam, turning this moment into a power struggle between a rising supernova and a stagnant establishment that doesn't know how to handle her. This isn't just about a TV spot. It's about millions of dollars being fumbled, petty resentment that begins in the boardroom and spills onto the court, and the shocking possibility that the commissioner may actually be rooting against her own biggest asset. Stephen A. Smith didn't merely hint at this. He effectively exposed what he sees as deep rot within WNBA leadership, urging viewers to buckle up as the league dives headfirst into a commercial that broke the camel's back and a rage now threatening to tear everything apart. To understand why the commissioner is reportedly seething, one has to examine the visual evidence and context of this media drop, because when Caitlin Clark appears in commercials, whether for Wilson, Gatorade, or State Farm, she isn't portrayed as just another WNBA player or a cog in a machine, but as a cultural icon and singular force of nature with elite production value that frames her not as part of the puzzle, but as the entire picture, powerful, independent, and unmistakably bigger than the league she plays in. For fans, it's hype, it's exciting, and it makes you want to watch basketball. But for WNBA executives, particularly Kathy Engelbert, it's reportedly a nightmare because the league didn't create that image, didn't authorize it, and can't control it. When the commissioner sees Clark dominating glossy national ads, she reportedly sees a player who doesn't need the WNBA to survive, someone with her own economy and her own gravitational pull. The rage Stephen A. Smith alludes to stems from a total loss of leverage, because leagues traditionally control players through paychecks and exposure, a dynamic Clark has completely bypassed. Insiders suggest the timing of this commercial is what truly ignited the front office, as the league spent the entire season pushing a collective narrative that is not about one player, urging fans to focus on the system, the history, and the other 143 players, only for one commercial to obliterate that message in 30 seconds by reminding everyone who is actually driving the bus. And it isn't the commissioner, it's the rookie with the ponytail. The contrast between the league's low-budget, uninspired marketing and Clark's premium brand partnerships has reportedly embarrassed leadership, with that embarrassment quickly turning into anger. Stephen A. Smith, long one of Clark's loudest defenders, has taken a darker tone recently, shifting from basketball analysis to dissecting the psychology of the executives in charge, stating that the atmosphere at WNBA headquarters isn't celebratory but resentful, and calling it absurd that a commissioner hired as a business expert would act emotionally compromised simply because one player is receiving too much shine. Smith argues the rage is a cover for incompetence, noting that every major Clark endorsement highlights what the WNBA failed to accomplish over 27 years, growing the game organically. And if you're Kathy Engelbert watching Gatorade market women's basketball better than the league itself, it stings deeply. Smith didn't hold back, suggesting leadership has taken Clark's success personally, feeling exposed and warning that this resentment from the top emboldens the toxicity seen on the court. Because if the commissioner rolls her eyes at Clark's success, opposing players will feel emboldened to take cheap shots. He connected the boardroom mindset to the locker room behavior, calling it a trickle-down effect of jealousy and accusing the league of wanting Clark to fail or at least be humbled, to regain control, though he noted that ship has already sailed, with the commercial proving the world is watching Caitlin, not Kathy. This rage only makes sense when viewed through the league's history, as the WNBA has long been run with a collectivist mindset that sells the league as a movement, while Clark represents individual stardom and pure market-driven relevance. Disrupting the hierarchy the old guard built, the league sells the shield. Clark's brand partners sell her, and that philosophical divide fuels the friction, with leadership feeling disrespected as decades of foundational work appear overshadowed by a player from Iowa hitting logo threes. Smith also tied the same energy to the Olympic snub, arguing that leaving Clark off Team USA was about protecting hierarchy and enforcing seniority, even though commercial relevance doesn't wait its turn, exposing a disconnect between a slow, seniority-based league office and a fast-moving, merit-driven advertising world that has created massive internal conflict. Financially, Smith has accused the WNBA of business malpractice, pointing out that in leagues like the NBA or NFL, commissioners celebrate massive commercials because they raise enterprise value, drive viewership, and sell jerseys, whereas the WNBA appears angry because Clark's off-court earnings dwarf her on-court salary, making the league look cheap and unprofessional when fans learn she earns roughly $76,000 as a rookie despite starring in million-dollar campaigns. This creates a PR disaster, exposes wage gaps, and invites scrutiny the commissioner knows all too well, prompting fans to ask why the league appears broke when Clark generates so much cash, leading leadership to get defensive rather than fixing the revenue model, operating from a scarcity mindset, while Clark creates entirely new value. That brings the focus back to Kathy Engelbert, hired as a CEO-style commissioner, but now seemingly outmaneuvered by the Clark phenomenon, with her stiff corporate responses, including a botched interview on racial toxicity, fueling speculation that she's raging because she's on a hot seat as owners see ticket sales, charter flights, and undeniable growth driven by Clark. The commercial symbolizes a pace and scale of growth Engelbert can't match, clashing sharply with the league's outdated marketing. And instead of adapting, reports suggest bitterness over Clark outshining the institution. Jealousy, a word used by Stephen A. Smith and Charles Barkley alike, appears unavoidable, not among players but within the executive suite itself, as Clark now wields more influence than the commissioner, commanding attention whenever she speaks while league leadership is increasingly ignored. The commercial cements Clark as the face of women's basketball regardless of standings, exposing the rage of a micromanager who has lost control, unable to dictate what Clark wears, says, or signs because she doesn't need the league's money. This resentment shows up in delayed highlight posts, alleged shadow banning, and telling silence, as the WNBA failed to repost or celebrate Clark's commercial success, a stark contrast to how major leagues amplify their stars. That silence confirms everything Smith has warned about, alienating new fans who see the hostility and increasingly view league leadership as a villain. Draw a line in the sand that the WNBA cannot win because you cannot fight the zeitgeist. The darkest layer connects boardroom rage to on-court violence, as cold leadership signals remove protection from Clark, coinciding with hard fouls, blindside hits, weak discipline, and perception that the league allows jungle rules because leadership secretly wants to see her struggle, even as every new commercial proves them wrong. This toxic cycle is made even more dangerous by Clark's leverage, with alternative leagues like Unrivaled offering massive salaries and equity, reminding the commissioner that Clark has options, from Europe to new ventures, while the WNBA needs her far more than she needs them, creating a terrifying power imbalance for a traditional league. Because in this case, Clark holds the keys, the car, and the deed, and the commercial boldly declares, "I am the economy," a reality that infuriates executives, no longer fully in control.